lines. Bass one. Solo it first, then I'll play it with the beat and see how they interact. Cool. So it's bass, again, Max for Live edition. It's a sine wave, a saw wave, a triangle wave. Well, here are the settings if you want to copy them. You can screenshot that. And then it's being run through a light sidechain compression. The reason I've used the compressor here rather than the LFO tool I used earlier is because the kick isn't 4/4. It moves around a little bit, and that can be much more difficult to program in LFO tool, but is perfectly easy to do with a sidechain compressor. And with the beat. Nice. Let's go straight on to bass 2. Whoa. So we can see the cutoff jumping around here, which relates to the cutoff here. So this is Monarch from Native Instruments. I probably use this bass synth more than any other when making my bass lines. The Define Square preset, which is just the top one when you load up the presets, the cutoff is automated, but in addition to that, there is some automation on the resonance here. Pretty cool. The beat is very much 4/4, and then the bass line plays around that with a syncopated rhythm. So if so this is in A minor, so if I fold that into the scale and then make the grid size slightly bigger, you can see it's every 3 it plays. So as this is the downbeat here, we're moving around it. When you do this pattern, you can reset it when the note changes, but I haven't. I've kept it moving, so the note plays every 3, even if the note changes. So this bass rhythm is starting just off the kick, whereas before it started on. So it just keeps, basically to say, it just keeps the flow the same and keeps moving around the drum beat in a really satisfying way. Like here, we can see the bass starts even further off from where the kick comes in, and then back on again here, which is just really nice. Classic technique for this kind of music if you want to keep it feeling organic and like nothing's too rigid. Bass 3. Oh, cool. So this one isn't really a bass line, it's an ARP, so I think this section doesn't really have much of a bass. Or I think actually these synth chords had a lot of low end in them and didn't really need any more sub. So let's see how that plays with the beat. Yeah, you can hear that thick kick drum underneath. LFO tool again here, but again, it's because even though this kick drum is 4/4, it has a lot of decay and a lot of low end and a lot of body to it, which doesn't make it an ideal candidate for sidechaining if you want to just cut off really where the attack of the kick comes in and give that the space it needs. So LFO tool, great option. And this is the Chicks preset. And a really good way to get some mileage out of a simple ARP as well, I find, is I didn't want to really move the notes around too much, but I like to play an ascending ARP line for the first half and then just reverse it and play it so it's descending. And it feels varied, but without actually having to write any new parts or add any new notes. Bass 4, Moog Mini from Arturia. Oh, there are actually 2 bass lines here. Oh, let's hit this one first. Cool. So very chorused, wide sounds, not very much low end. So I've rolled off everything under about 70 hertz to cut off anything down here. It's the long dirt bass preset. Move the cutoff around a little bit, maybe the filter. Some soft clipping on, and then underneath that, here's the real low end, and it's from Sublab, 808 style synth and sampler. So that's being run through some Saturn 2. Clean tube setting. I really boosted these low frequencies here. And this is really just giving it that kind of crunchy, saturated, driven sound. Let's play them together. So yeah, I like the shape and attack of Sublab, but I also really like the wide chorusy sound of the Mini, so I've just played them together. They marry up quite well. The last bass, quick tip, if your computer is struggling to even play back audio, probably turn off things that you don't need to be hearing. So bass 6, Profit, another from the Arturia collection, bass preset. Nice. Love that. So bass, it'll be here somewhere. There it is. Bass. This is the preset. You can hear I moved the cutoff around a little bit there. I imagine analog, delay, and chorus are probably turned on for this kind of a sound, so I just clicked them off when I loaded the preset up. And another really good example of the relationship between the beat and the bass line. So each note is coming in a little early, so if I turn the click on, actually, that's probably the best way of... Cool, like a pretty mellow sound. But with the filter open, it's pretty dirty. All right, synth time. Let's have a listen. Cool. So my music theory isn't nearly good enough to break down how I made these chords. I did them by ear. One thing that's clear is that we are including the octave. So A, G, D, D, which is giving it a lot of height, I guess. And then we've got the third playing here, first, second, third, fourth, fifth. So we're moving between the third, the fifth, the fourth of each chord. And I just did that by ear, just sort of what I was looking for. And with scale turned on here, it's just so easy, you know. I just set it to A minor. I know that I want the root, the octave above, and then just moving up through, the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and then the octave again. Just seeing which note is what I'm looking for mood-wise. We're using Jupiter 8 again, part of the Arturia collection. Looking pretty great. This is the Fact 23 preset. It's under the preset menu. And then I've used this tape mellow, which is just the sort of tape engine of the mellotron. So it's giving it this kind of warbly, slightly driven, the flutter's down, but the wow is up. Some wear, some mechanical sounds. It's got some filters as well. Let's turn it off and on. So yeah, it's giving it some gain, some drive, some hiss. Amazing. Then that's going through some glue compressor, which you could see there isn't working too hard. And then a sidechain compressor to the kick drum, keeping that out of the way. And at the end there, if we turn automation on, Jupiter 8, cut off, we can see the cut off opening and closing over time here, just to, again, give it some movement. And then here we have a blip sound wavetable with a frequency shifter on. Interesting. So a few things happening here. Firstly, this is the setting that I've made in wavetable. So we've got a little bit of sub, 2 oscillators. Oscillator 1 is kind of a triangle wave, and then oscillator 2, which is a pure sine wave, both playing at the same octave. And quite a few things are being automated. The amount of FM here is moving between 2.3, 1.5, 0, and then it'll slowly move back up again. And it's slightly altering the timbre. We're also automating the attack and the release here. So we can see the attack slowly rolls off as the release also opens. And finally we have the unison set to noise, and that's increasing as well. If I ramp that all the way up, you'll hear the difference. But we just want a little bit of that. And then this frequency shifter. And then finally, it's being sent to the EMT 140. Just at the end there. So yeah, we kind of quite dramatically changed this sound with just a few little moves. The frequency shifter is amazing. So it's the LFO amount is turned all the way up. It's not set to a subdivision of this tempo, so 16th or anything. It's just set to a free 50 hertz shift mode, and it's just the dry wet, and it's just, as you can hear, providing extra frequencies. Synth chirp. So this is just my old friend FM8. FM8 is pretty similar to analog wavetable with an Ableton operator, especially. It's just a simple FM synth, but although it seems simple, there is a lot to dive into. All these different menus. I won't go through how it works exactly because I'm going to be honest, I don't really know. But I have selected the 303 preset, so that's what this looks like. If you wanted, I don't know, if you wanted to build it yourself. But importantly, it's just a really small, sharp, chirpy sound. And alongside the wavetable synth we just had on, kind of a nice relationship. Pretty cool. And then we have this organic layer. Nice. Pigments. Another Autoria synth. Not part of the same collection. This is a separate synth. It's a sampler, it's a wavetable, it's all sorts of things. It's really powerful. And this is, I think, literally the first preset that opens when you load up the synth. It's called Reverse Box. Oh, this asterisk does mean that you've altered it in some way, so I imagine maybe I've just altered these macros down here slightly. And yeah, I haven't got anything on that. No EQ, no nothing. It just sounds great as it is. Melodically, again, I've just set scale to A minor, and I've just played around. Let's keep going. Let's go into these synth chords. So this is a group of 2 instruments in, Serum and Wavetable. So let's listen to them both together first. Let's start with Wavetable. Cool. So it's just similar to the last preset. It's 2 oscillators. One is an octave higher than the other. The lower octave is playing a triangle, the higher octave is playing a sine, and the higher octave is 12 dB quieter than the one below. Again, some FM here, a small amount of FM. So you can hear what it's doing there. Just a small amount of it, 3%, 4%, adds a little bit of texture. And then at the start of every new chord, I've just got the frequency cut off, dropping down with a small amount of resonance, so you get this little bump here. Chords wise, that's what they are. If I had better music theory, I'd explain why they sound the way they do. But it looks like, again, I've just stacked an octave up, so B1 and B2 all the way across, and then I've added the third on top of each one. And they're in B minor here. They have kind of a sadness to them, as opposed to, say, a fifth. Much more power chordy. That one's nice. But we don't want that, we want the thirds. Yeah, you can hear the difference already. Much more minor. On top of that then, we've got Serum. Playing exactly the same thing. Let's load up, see what I've done. Spring Synth is what I've called this. So it's mallet metal preset, guitar preset, they'll be within the folders. Some noise, doesn't look like filter set to, I imagine, this LFO. And then I think the real stuff is in this effects engine here. Hyper. Turn those up. Oh, this is not. Some chorus, some delay, some EQ. A really nice long ping pong. And then, yeah, again together. Pretty cool. Let's keep going. So on top of that, we have another pad sound. So this is definitely played in live, the Mini 3. Soft bells preset. Have a look at that and grab it, or just go to that preset. And then we've got the RC Retro Color 20 on top. The Vinyl 1 preset. I think the noise is usually pretty hot on that preset, so I've dialed that down a little bit. Some wobble, some distortion. It cuts off the top and bottom. It's great. There is some, it looks like it's automated. Oh yeah, so it's automated on and off because there is like a noise floor that comes in and out. So I've just turned off the entire plugin before and after when this MIDI is playing to make sure that, back in the track here, there isn't some random noise crackle. So yeah, really adds some color, adds some vibe. And then this is also being sent to some delay. This is just a standard Ableton delay. A fair amount of 21% feedback, repitch mode. I think this is just how it loads up and it's fit for purpose. So yeah, let's keep it going. This is another set of chords. Again, very Caribou-y to my ears. That kind of sad, almost a sad, sadness to it. Looking at the way these chords were made, kind of all over the place. So we've got, it's in E minor, so set that scale right away. C, E, G, B. You know what? Feel free to just take a screenshot of that or copy them in. It's spread pretty wide again. Like if I take this bottom octave and I move it up an octave, which I do by holding down Shift, Command, and then pressing the up and down keys. This is what it sounds like, kind of smaller. And I've just dropped this an octave. Nice. It's pretty similar. It's Analog Lab. Beauty Harp. Very nice. Wavetable, again, just love it. I just think it's amazing. Nice long release. Rolled the attack off a little so it isn't too harsh. Lovely. Just one single oscillator playing a sine wave. No sub, no second oscillator, no cutoff. It's basically exactly how it comes out the box, but with the release and decay shape here. And stacked up together, they sound great. What we got next? Oh, an FM8. Yeah, you can hear the stereo delay being automated in there. Just some eighth notes. The FM8. So this isn't a preset. This is something that I've built. So it's going to be very simple. So I usually, when I load up the FM8 for the first time, I'll skip past a lot of this effects and art, and I'll just go down to easy morph, and that's where you can kind of shape the the shape of the sound. So. Like that. And then in expert mode, just through years of using this synth, I know that F here is this is the FM matrix. I wish I could explain it really, really well. I'll maybe link a video that explains how to use the FM8 a little bit more, because I feel like people don't use it as much as they used to, but it's just so powerful. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe people use it all the time. But I know that F is the oscillator, the one oscillator that we're hearing. That when you first load up the preset, that's what you get. And if you click this line above it, you can increase the fold back. So if I turn that off first, kind of gives it this FM brightness. I find about 30. This is just a sine wave. That is enough to help it cut through a mix, give it some top end texture. Chorus Juno 6. So again, this from Arturia, much like the Mellow tape, and it's just it's the chorus unit from a Juno 6. Just sit off. Just the default preset. Mix at 50%, so I imagine this is just straight out the box. Audio loop from the pack. It is, so that's being sent to a good amount of reverb. It already has a pulse built into it. So let's see what we did over the top. Nice. Pro 511 brass preset. So brass and winds. There it is. Pro 511 brass. Turns the cutoff right the way down to the bottom, and then basically built the shape using the filter envelope here. Something like that. Both oscillators, no noise, but we could add a bit of noise. Although I don't want to muddy up the mix too much. We've got it running through Crystallizer. So this is playing an octave higher in reverse. It's MIDI synced. Awesome. So this is from a Crystallizer from Sound Toys, part of the Sound Toys collection. Default preset, I've just automated the mix and chose the pitch I wanted to come in over the top. And then that's being ran through the Vintage Verb, which I'm surprised there isn't more of in this demo. It's pretty much a go-to for reverb for me, for this kind of genre. It's really colourful. It isn't overly bright. So we want the mix to be set enough that we can hear the dry signal cutting through, but a good amount of pre-delay will separate the dry sound from the reverb sound. And I've cut a lot of the top end off as well. I mean, this isn't an especially bright sound. Our very last bit in the synth section, another loop from the pack. Kind of a cool falsetty sound. Lots of movement, pretty cool. You can hear it being sent to the reverb at the end there. A little bit of insight into how I make packs. When I'm getting near the end of a pack, and I've spent a long time shaping a lot of sounds, and I know pretty much how the pack sounds overall, and I just need that last sort of quarter of the loops I need, that's when I'll start building the demo, which is what I've done here. So the pack has, you know, many, many more sounds and loops and beats, but these were the last ones I made and they formed the demo. And every so often I'll be making the demo and I'll remember something I made earlier in the pack and just import it in rather than rebuilding it again. But yeah, these loops here, they're all part of the pack. So they're the synth sounds. Let's move on to vocals. So a really long echo on these, 94%. Again, very Caribou. A lot of these techniques are very Caribou-y, but I've tried to keep the genre a little broader. Soothe 2, you could hear what it was doing here. It's really pulling out this frequency, which was building up and up and up and up and up, especially with all this echo. So I've put that after the echo so that it's attenuating the feedback as well. This is just my stupid voice. I've cut off everything under 100 because there can be a lot of rumble from... I have sort of like a desk stand for my microphone, and sometimes they can be like rumble through that and things. That's layered up with another vocal, this one. Take your time. Cool. So this, I think, would have been melodined, tightened it up here and there, and then compressed it with glue compressor, and a sort of a medium attack. Kind of want the start of every word to come through. A good amount of release, 4:1, so you know, a reasonable amount of compression. Pro Q3, again, just rolling off that low end. Want to keep everything under 100, 200. Want to keep all of that clean, and then Soothe. Let's see what that's doing. This murky, muddy resonance here that's been pulled out by about -3 dB, and some of the attack sound up here as well. And then, as you heard, that's been layered up with the same thing but an octave lower, and that would have just been pitched down using Ableton's own pitch engine and then refroze. But together, A really quick hack to create some harmony. They're both being sent to the same EMT40 and delay to kind of give them a lot of width. And that's really it. Pretty straightforward. Some pitched vocals. Really heavily filtered. So this again would have been something that I've sung and then massively pitched up, looped, squashed. So I just wanted this middle bit here. You can hear it going to the a little bit to the MT, but then we have this automation at the end to the delay. One more vocal from me. So here, just starts the kind of a James Blakey thing here, where it just loops. But I'm using Soundtoys Little Alter Boy, a monophonic voice manipulator. This is preset 3, modern double, and basically it's just doubling the vocal. It's not altering the pitch, but I am pulling the formant down, which is this would have been the same way that I pitched the previous loop. So I'm changing the characteristic of my voice, but I'm not altering the pitch. And then the mix is set to about 50-50, so we're hearing the dry signal, which is this. And the wet signal. And then a little bit of drive as well. Again, sent to the EMT. And it sounds great. Well, as great as it can. And they're the vocals. Not too many in this. And that's the demo broken down. So if you want to listen to the whole thing, head over to SoundCloud or the website and you can hear each of those things all together. I would play it for you now, but I'm pretty sure if I turn all this on, my CPU will overload. So I'm not going to even attempt it. So yeah, that's it. This has been the demo for Euphoric Memory. It came out on Friday. If this is your thing, then it's definitely going to be up your street. Hopefully the demo breakdown has been useful. You can see how a lot of the loops were made, how they're arranged. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks.